What's going on, everyone? So, Russell Westbrook's time with the Los Angeles Lakers did not go how we had hoped, right? It just was a bad fit from day one. They were never really able to work it out. Credit Russell Westbrook for, trying to make the attempt, making the sacrifices, willing to come off the bench, try to become a better defender, and just he did what he had to do. He did what he tried to do, and it didn't work out. Sometimes things just don't work out, right? And Russell Westbrook, the Lakers were able to turn him into just great quality players that are going to be around, in my opinion, for the foreseeable future. This was a play not only for this season, but going forward. I think that they got more value than we ever could have thought or imagined for Russell Westbrook, especially without having to give up 2 first-round picks, because that was always the conversation, right? You got to give up 1 first for Russ, and then you got to give up another first for whatever deal it is, right? And I had so many people and so many comments and so many things that were just like, it's delusional, blah, 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 blah. Well, look what happened, right? Lakers ended up pulling it off, and Russell Westbrook, he ends up going to Utah. They buy him out, and now he was looking for a team and has found his landing spot, and that spot is the Clippers. So Westbrook, I've been a big supporter of. I've loved Westbrook. I've talked highly of Russell Westbrook. I still think he has a lot in the tank. I just think his time with the Lakers, it just didn't work. It didn't fit. You need a very specific team around Russell Westbrook, right? He's a guy, he has to have rolling bigs, shooters, all of those things around him for him to thrive and be successful, because he's limited in his scoring output. He's a guy that can go get you, 20, 10, and 10 every night, but you have to have the right pieces around him, and he has to be more of a focal point, right? And he just was never going to be able to be that with the Lakers. Now, with the Clippers, I think he's going to have some success with them. Now, I can't support Russ anymore because he's a Clipper now. If he would have went anywhere else, I would have been rooting for his success. I really wanted to see him have, great success. I still think he is an incredible player, incredible talent. I do think in the right situation, he can really thrive and help a team. I do think he is going to help the Clippers. Something I've talked about on numerous occasions is that I thought Russell Westbrook to the Clippers made a world of sense. One, all of the moves the Clippers made at the trade deadline all made sense if they went and got Russell Westbrook. Like, they basically got rid of all of their point guards and John Wall and Reggie Jackson, who are basically just like the Russell Westbrook equivalents, or downgraded versions, right? And they ended up getting more shooters. They ended up fixing their size issue, right? Because that was the big problem. They didn't have another center. They went and got Plumlee. Like, all of their moves were like, okay, these make sense if they're going to get a Russell Westbrook, a guy that can come in and play the point guard role and really kind of thrive in with shooters and being a spread guy, right? That is what the Clippers look like, and now the Clippers got Russell Westbrook. I think he is going to really help the Clippers a lot because they have a team that really just fixes all of his issues, right? Plumlee and Zubac, we're going to see them. I think that they're really going to thrive next to Russ because he loves to drive, get to the hoop, and then dump the ball off to the big man. Plumlee is a rolling big. He is a running big. So Plumlee is going to hugely benefit, in my opinion, off of Russell Westbrook. That hyper athletic type of center. I think Russ and him are going to be huge. And that's going to be, I do think that this is a real problem. I think the Clippers with Russell Westbrook is really going to help. I think he'll be a better fit. He'll be with a guy in Paul George that they liked each other and understood each other and were teammates before. So you're going to have that guy that's kind of vouching for him and being there for him. That team has nothing but 3-and-D shooters. So you're going to be able to put Russell Westbrook and like 4 guys that could shoot the ball, and Russ is just going to be able to thrive. He'll likely start on that team. Now, the problem is, and what they're going to have to figure out, and why I don't think this will work that well this year, is because they're going to have to figure out the clunky fit, because it is going to be clunky at times. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard dominate the ball so much. How much is Russ really going to get it? And because, again, you need to kind of just, like, Russ makes sense as the bench unit guy because he could just run the show, right? Like, you could have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they could get their rest, and you have Russell Westbrook who could just, give you 20 minutes of quality production surrounded by a bunch of shooters. Like, that's what the Lakers never really did. Like, that was the thing. Like, give Russ, like, 15 minutes a game to himself and he'll probably go get you 20, 10, and 10. But they never really did that. And the Lakers didn't have the talent around Russ. Like, I think the Lakers team now, right? Like the roster we have now, I think like if they would have gotten Russ after, I think would have made more sense. Like in that bench role, right? Because they have shooters, they have rolling big men, they have defensive guys, right? So you could add the floor spacing now. I think the Clippers are looking at it as like, one, our two stars can't stay healthy and miss a ton of games. Two, Paul George and Russell Westbrook have chemistry and have worked together. So, when Kawhi Leonard misses, you get Russell Westbrook, who can kind of fill in that void, fill in that gap. They need a point guard. And I think that they'll be able to surround him with the pieces that he needs to have some success. That was the thing with the Lakers, is that, one, Russell Westbrook and LeBron are too similar to make it work. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they're very similar in players, but they're very different from Russ, right? Like, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are in many ways the same type of player, right? But they're not. Russ isn't the same player as Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. So I think that they will have some more success. Problem is just the ball issues. And, because again, Kawhi Leonard is a vacuum, right? He gets the ball, that's it. You're not getting it back. Paul George, he's developed into more of a playmaker, but the whole point of getting a point guard, right, is for him to just be able to score and take some of that playmaking duties off of him, right? So is Russ going to be, how effective is Russ going to be off the ball, which has always been a problem? That's been the Clippers' problem with John Wall and Reggie Jackson. John Wall, one, he wasn't as explosive, couldn't really play defense, and he couldn't shoot to save his life. Russ is going to be in that same boat. He can't shoot to save his life. And then you have, you had Reggie Jackson, who he just forgot how to shoot. So that was the problem. Like, the Clippers needed a guard that could shoot. Russ doesn't really solve that. Russ is going to get a lot of baskets at the rim, but also come playoff time, we see that the issue is teams just kind of pack it down. And that's what's going to be a big problem for the Clippers, is like when teams pack it down, they're going to have to start hitting shots. How much is Russ going to be able to play in those moments? If you're starting Russ, like, are you going to finish games with him? Probably not, right? But to be fair, like, based on the reports, Russell Westbrook spoke with these with the team, and they gave him a definitive role. Like, hey, this is what you're going to do. This is how you're going to play it. So my guess is that, like, they've worked that out. But a lot of the same problems he had on the Lakers, he's still going to have on the Clippers. Like, it's like, that's not going to change. And teams still know how to kind of neutralize Russ a little bit, right? But it's just, the Clippers just have so many guys that need the ball, right? You got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, you got Russ now, who he's going to want the ball. Like, if you were going to bring Russ in, you might as well have brought him in as like the 6-man role. You might as well have kept him what the Lakers role is. But based on the reports we got, and the reason he went to the Clippers was because the Clippers were going to make him a starter. Maybe not right away, but at some point they were going to make him a starter this season. So if they do, I mean, look, it's a low risk, high reward move for the Clippers. The Clippers make all the sense in the world. Like, if the Lakers, like, let's say the Clippers bought out Russ and the Lakers had an opportunity to get Russ on a vet minimum, right? Like, why wouldn't you take the chance the rest of the season? Like, it makes sense why the Clippers did it. It's just, I think he helps. I just don't know how much yet. And granted, we'll see that once the games start being played and stuff like that, because the Clippers aren't a very good scoring team. They're like 27th in the league in points. Like, so they're not very, I mean, they're top 8 overall with like defensive rating and all that stuff and all the other metrics. But like, just from an offensive standpoint, they're not very good at scoring the basketball, which is surprising because you look at the roster and you're like, man, like, their entire team is nothing but shooters and scorers, right? But they won't really put the ball in more. So Russ, I do think, will help in that regard, right? because he's just going to be able to generate points. He's going to be a fast break guy, but how much is Ty Lue going to let him just run? Right? Like, they run a lot of half-court sets. Lakers, they had LeBron James and Russell Westbrook, so they wanted to go and run as much and as fast as possible. So it made more sense for Russ on the Lakers with that roster because they just run and gun, right? Boom. That's why the Lakers were leading the league in fast breaks and fast break points and all that stuff, because you have a one-man fast break in Russell Westbrook and then another one in LeBron James. And so now the Clippers, they have that one-man fast break, but how much are the other guys going to get out and run? I don't see Kawhi Leonard sprinting down the court as like the trail man to get the putback, I don't know. It just always kind of boils down with the Clippers for me is like, I'll believe it when I see it, right? Like every year the Clippers have the best roster. Every year it's their year. Every year they're the ones that are coming out the West, this, that, and the other. And every year they make it to the second round and they lose. Like that's it. Like it's what the story's been. They've been to one Western Conference Finals. That's it. That is terrible, right? And got smacked in that Western Conference Finals. So that's my thing. It's just like how much better does Russell Westbrook make them? I definitely think he's going to have an impact. I definitely think he makes them better. I definitely think that Russell Westbrook by himself is going to have like one of those he could win them a playoff game by himself. He's going to have one of those just monster games. But how well does he get along with everybody? Is he going to be okay with are you going to have to close games with him because you don't want to rock the boat? Like all of those things, right? Like there's all of the same issues and questions with the Lakers are still with the Clippers. My only thing, that's why I thought Russell Westbrook should have went to the Wizards. I said that he was going to go to the Clippers because I believed it, but I think the Wizards were the best place because one, I think he would kind of get to be the guy there. Like, he get to run the show the way he wants to run it. I think also the idea of the Clippers are a contender, right? Clippers are a team that are supposed to win the championship, or at least get close, right? But in Washington, there's not that pressure. There's not if Russ goes to anything that Russ adds would just be a huge benefit, a huge bonus. But on the Clippers, it's like everything's going to be amplified and highlighted. You're going to have to play in Staples Center where, if this was a different arena, then yeah, I think he'd have more success. How is he going to be when he's in the arena for his home team and they're booing him because there's still a bunch of Laker fans in it, right? He's still got to go. He's still going to the same arena, the same locker room, all that stuff. I mean, I do get Russ to the Clippers made a lot of sense as a big FU. I don't know. Again, it's one of those things. I'm going to I'll believe it when I see it type thing. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. So I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think about Russ going to the Clippers? Do you think it works? Do you think it doesn't? What do you think of, him not being on the Lakers anymore? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know down in the comments below.